It's time to do business. Again, welcome to Business Incorporated, and we have 25 minutes to go around the world of business. I'm John Mekwa, and here's what we have prepared for you. In Kenya, there's power shortage there. Most of what they have is coming from Ethiopia and Uganda. And Nigeria still tops mobile payments on the continent, according to Digital Cooperation Organization. Egypt's National Investment Bank gets an ISO certificate. Congratulations to them. Yeah, welcome to the program. Let's start from the oil space, where prices regained a little ground, buoyed by easing concerns over potential supply glut. Sanctions on Russia companies begin to bite. The latest sanctions on Russia's biggest oil companies 2 weeks ago are sparking some concerns about supply disruptions, despite rising output from OPEC and its allies, and Lukoil's operation at its foreign businesses are struggling in the face of sanctions, according to reports that's coming from that area. In the previous session, oil prices fell after the U.S. Energy Information Administration said that U.S. crude stocks rose by 5.2 million barrels to 421.2 million barrels last week. Saudi Arabia, which is the world's top oil exporter, sharply reduced the prices of its crude for Asian buyers in December, responding to a well-supplied market. So that's what we see that has brought this green color to the market, where Brent is now $63.95 a barrel, gain 0.68%, while WTI is also in the green, 0.81%, but at $60.07 a barrel. Let's see what's happening with metals at this time. We see spot gold at this time is up 0.1% at $3,986.23. So it's a bit better than what we had at this time yesterday, but it's still below the 4,200, which is the highest that we have hit so far. US gold is also up 0.1%, $3,994.60. a barrel. Spot silver is 0.3% in the green, $48.22 per ounce. Platinum is green, is red, 0.7% down at $1,550.91. Palladium is on the flip side, 0.2% green, $1,422.23 for an ounce. And then moving away from there, we go to Kenya, where the unfortunate shortage of power is the topic of discussion right there, because that country has been struggling with power. And most of the power that it has at this time is coming from Ethiopia and Uganda. Now, the president has announced that between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. there will be power cuts in the country, and that leaves a lot of room for infrastructural development in Kenya. And for Nigeria, still leading the continent in the latest reports by DEN when it comes to mobile payment and the fintechs, of course. The unicorns still reigning and leading the country into shining light. That's what is happening. That's the latest report from the DEN 2025 report that Nigeria tops Africa for mobile payment and digital skills growth. And now let's head over and see what's happening when it comes to deployment of biotechnology for security, food security. That's the latest move that's leading toward food security in Nigeria.
The National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency stands firmly behind the values that OPA promotes. Our mandate is to harness biotechnology responsibly to deliver greater food security, improve nutrition and livelihood for millions of Nigerians. Over the past decades, we have worked with partners across government, academia, research institutes, and private sector to develop and deploy innovations that strengthen resilience to pests, diseases, and changing climate. The evidence is now visible on farmers. It's now visible on farms, Varieties such as pot-borer resistant cowpea, teller maize, and BT cotton, which are joint national and international partnership projects, have moved beyond laboratory into farmers' field.
Let's do commodities now, and we're looking at cement. Rosemary Hira is analyst with Financial Derivatives Company and joins us. Hi, Rosemary. Of course, cement is one of the very basic that's needed in the construction sectors, construction industry. And we've seen price movements from this way to the other. What's going on with the price of cement at this time?
Good afternoon, Indy. Thank you for having me on the show. So with regards to the price of cement, it has been relatively stable for the past 6 months. It has the retail price is between 10,200 to 10,500, depending on where you're getting it from. And the reason why this is because of stable supply in the markets and producers being cautious about increasing price during the time of weak consumer confidence, essentially. So we have producers or major players in the market. They have grown to increase capacity, their productive capacity. So they are enjoying efficiency gains and economies of scale. So they are able to somewhat keep supply stable while also being able to absorb some costs. And this is important because we have moved away from the rainy season into the dry season. So the rainy season between, say, April to October. So there's not a lot of demand. So them increasing prices during that period will further push consumers away, and they will weaken sales as well. So, but now that we're going into the dry season, we should see some increments in price, but not within this festive period. We should still see prices remain between 10,200 to 10,500 as we move into December.
I wonder how we're doing with exports of cement.
Oh, well, 15 years ago, Nigeria was actually a net importer of cement. But now we've become a net exporter. And that is huge because this stems from years and years of massive investment in efficient technology, cost management, and even backward integration policies that allows domestic producers to be able to source major raw materials like limestone locally. So this drastically reduces their costs. So now we produce much more than we consume. So we export the surplus to other West African countries.
Rosemary, so sometimes they talk about, because of high cost of building materials, people are looking for alternatives. Has there been any headways when it comes to alternative, to building materials, so that we can get more housing in the country?
With regards to alternatives, it's not a major topic now, but with what we have, that is using of cement, and people are becoming more, builders are becoming more innovative with how they use cement for buildings, tiles, plastering, making of interlocking blocks for roads. So the good thing there is that there is a protection agency. It's called the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and they are there so that the prices of cement, because the cement industry is actually an oligopolistic industry, so there are few players. They can form cartels or coalitions to kind of control either the price or the quantity of this commodity. So this commission is in place to ensure that they don't go overboard with the price. So even if prices are going to increase, it shouldn't go above 11,500, or we'll have this commission coming into stamping down the price.
All right, Rosemary, thank you so much for those insights on the cement in Nigeria this time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, let's go to the markets now, find out what's happening with the numbers at this time. We see for Nigeria, unfortunately, it's still the red color. Oh, gosh. I mean, I don't know when this is going to end, especially when you look at the factor driving this profit taking at the NGX. I don't know how soon it will end. We're still at 150,000, which is what we closed at yesterday, but I mean the color is red. Let's find out if we can get perhaps more recent numbers and the sentiments in the market at this time with Oluwatobi Adesanya. He's an equity trader with Zcrest Securities Limited. Oluwatobi, good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Billy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's heartbreaking. I was thinking by now we'll be looking at 170, 180,000, but we see the steady drop at the market. What's going on?
Okay, let me disappoint you a bit more. I mean, as when I checked last, so we are no longer in the 150.
Oh my God! I'll start crying right now.
so presently we are at about 149, 751 points, right? And the market has declined further. Currently, the DSI is down 53 basis points at the moment. So, and we can say, of course, when the market opened, it was mildly bearish, like it was down about 2%, 2 basis points. But then, long, around the 11 a.m., so the market be back to the positive, like 1 basis point or 2 basis points.
Oluwatobi, can you hear me?
Like to 21 basis points. I think you were.
Hello, Oluwatobi,
yes,
can you hear me?
Very well.
Oh, okay, because
I can hear you very well.
I can barely hear you.
I can hear you very well. Barely, if you can hear me too.
Okay, I think it's better now. Please go ahead.
Okay, good. I was saying at some point in the morning, the market was somewhat positive, like 1 or 2 basis points. Then it declined again to 21 basis points. Now it's down by about 53 basis points. And we can attribute this to banking stocks. Let's say the banking sector, right? And not quite long, we have seen the stocks like Access Corp decline by about 4.35%. So that's part of what's dragged the ASI even down further, to about 53 basis points. So the sentiment is largely negative.
Wow.
At the moment.
And news going on is that it's the fear of the increased capital gains tax that's driving profit taking.
Well, for me, I would say it's just the fear of the new capital gain tax, because if we look at performance even before then, right, we've been seeing that the markets, we've been seeing profit-taking activities, right? If you look at 3-4 weeks ago, the market was very bullish and everyone was happy, but it is expected that after a bullish, period, people would want to take profits, right? So, and it's now that the market is kind of bearish, people are concerned. If you look at 2-3 weeks ago, I think on a week-on-week, the market's gained about 4% in a week. So now that we are seeing the negative numbers, everybody is worried. But then we could say, so it is not only the capital gain tax, right? So we could also attribute it to some earnings reports that we have seen across different companies. And, for companies, especially in the banking sectors, right, that their performance were kind of lower compared to what we saw the same period last year. So, we have been seeing sell-offs in that sector. But then if you look at some other sectors that even have good reports, right? So we are still not seeing the market move towards, move the positive zone downwards. So that just tells us that people are positioned ahead before the Q3 results starts coming in. So for now, it will take more than Q3 earnings to kind of boost the markets again, right?
So where are we going to stop this for? When is it ending, Oluwatobi? Where can we expect that we will start going up again? How long can we endure this drop in the market?
So the good thing is that, when prices are down now, it's also an opportunity for investors to take position. We have been seeing bargain hunting activities, especially in stocks that are fundamentally sound, right? So we have been seeing activities in, consumer goods and industrial. Of course, if you look at yesterday, for example, and the good thing in this period is, a stock can be down today and people will take advantage and it will go up tomorrow. So let me just say, like, investors are being cautious, right? So for now, to the next, let me say in the short term, we'll be seeing more of bearish sentiment, although it might be mixed, but let's say more of bearish sentiment, right? And, we are moving towards we are in the last quarter of the year, where there is always not too much activities in the markets, right? And we'll also see portfolio rebalancing, right? So maybe early Q1, so we might see that positive momentum again, January effects and all of that, but it might not be that much,
All right, Oluwatobi, thank you so much. We hope we can stay in the markets until the tide changes positive. Oluwatobi Adesanya is an equity trader with Zcrest Securities Limited.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's look at other markets at this time. For Johannesburg, we see that it's green at intraday, 0.29%. Egypt is, however, it's also green, 2%, a whole 2%. That's a huge move for Egypt, 39,914.90. Nairobi closed green also yesterday, 0.42% in the green. Moving over to the Middle East, we see Dubai is green, Abu Dhabi is red, but slightly so, not so much to worry about. Saudi Arabia is green, and Qatar is red, 0.48%. Now that's enough to worry about, almost 0.5% shaved off at intraday. Moving over to the United States, we see that the Dow is green, 0.48, S&P 0.37, and Nasdaq 0.65. Investors increasingly expect the Supreme Court ruling, that one about the tariffs, against the Trump administration's aggressive trade policy after High Court justices on Wednesday expressed some skepticism about the trade taxes legality at hearing in Washington. And there are suggestions that even if the court rules against it, President Trump has some other plans up his sleeves that he can just pull out and still sustain the tariffs. Moving over to Asia now, our markets for Thursday, at the close of Thursday, we saw mostly green there. The Nikkei 1.34, Kospi 0.55, the Hang Seng more than 2% in the green, 2.12. And looking at other parts, there, Shanghai is also green. The lone loser at the close of trade in Asia today is 0.34%. And let's stay with the markets now. We have Lars joining us to give us sentiments in Europe. Hi, Lars. Good afternoon. What are investors doing at this time?
Good afternoon, Ini. Good to be with you again. So here we thought for a few days now that maybe the DAX would find a direction. But here we're again trading sideways today. And even today with one analyst this morning just stating in an interview what everyone's really been seeing anyway. As soon as you have shares drop a bit, buyers come in. And as soon as there's some gains in the markets, the sellers come out again. That means there's literally no conviction in markets. There's no long bets in either direction. Now, off the market, something we're watching a bit today, Chancellor Merz is holding a steel summit here in Berlin, hoping to tackle the steel industry's problems from high energy prices to sustainability to competition from China. But I'm really not expecting any of these talks to move markets much.
So I'm leaving Germany for a bit, but I'm still within you right there. Interesting about Norway's sovereign wealth fund. They say they're making a few changes to the rules. What is this about?
Yes, Ini, interesting story here. First of all, one should know that Norway's sovereign wealth fund has $2.1 trillion under management, indeed making this the biggest sovereign wealth fund in the world. And among the investment rules for the fund were environmental concerns, labor and anti-slavery rules, and rules that stipulate that the fund cannot invest in companies involved in, quote, serious violations of individuals' rights in war or conflict situations. And that has recently led to a situation where the fund actually sold off shares of 5 Israeli banks, as well as the U.S. construction equipment maker Caterpillar. The reason here, the fund has a council on ethics, and that council had said that there was no doubt that, and again I quote, Caterpillar's products are being used for extensive and systemic violations of international humanitarian law. And they specifically pointed to Caterpillar bulldozers, again, being used, I'm quoting here, being used by the Israeli authorities in the widespread illegal destruction of Palestinian property. Now, the fund selling off these shares then based on these ethical concerns led to an immediate reaction, of course, from the US government in an effort to de-escalate. The Norwegian parliament has taken on the issue, and they did actually decide that the ethical standards of the fund needed to be changed.
So what's the reaction to this idea of changing the rules?
Well, they are mixed. Now, some of the left-leaning parties in the Norwegian government said that they condemned the changes, with one parliamentarian saying this was only done out of fear of the US president's wrath. However, others are relieved that there is no further escalation for now, at least. And it seems Parliament was indeed also taking a much wider view of the situation, making this rule change not only due to the conflict over Caterpillar and taking it out of that Gaza-Israel situation. According to Finance Minister Jens Stoltenberg, the 7 most valuable companies on the planet make up 16% of the wealth fund. Among them are Nvidia, of course, and Meta and Microsoft and Apple. And Stoltenberg says that, quote, according to today's ethical guidelines, the old one, he says here, we must be prepared for the possibility that we may no longer be able to invest in the world's largest companies. And in that case, he says, the fund would no longer be a broadly diversified global index fund. And just to not get into ethical concerns over apparently many other companies that he is concerned about, for now, that is why the ethical guidelines have been halted.
All right, thank you so much for bringing that to us, Lars, and enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too, Ini. Thank you.
So now let's see what's happening in the crypto space. We see a green for Bitcoin, but the numbers are not so different from what we've been having these days. It's 102,908.38. In 24 hours, it's up almost a 0.5%, 0.48 right there. Ethereum is still under 4,000, 3,380.08, but it's gained. I think we had 3,320 or so about this time yesterday. So it's more than 1% up. XRP is also in the green. TRX in the green, but we still have some alts right there. Some of those favorite alts like Cardano still in the red, BNB, Doge are still in the red. But I mean, the thing is, we see more greens coming up. We don't know how long it will stay or how much it will spread to other parts, but at least that's what we have right now. Let's look at the stories that are making the headlines in the crypto space at this time. We'll start from President Trump, who seeks U.S. Bitcoin superpower status in race against China's crypto push. So U.S. President has warned that China poses a significant threat to Western dominance in the global crypto market, emphasizing that America must prioritize crypto innovation to stay ahead. By ending restrictive policies and promoting the industry, U.S. aims to become the Bitcoin superpower and crypto capital of the world, as with many things one would add right there. And then the other story is BitGet's stock features its contrasts, surpassing $1 billion in cumulative trading volume, reaching the milestone 2 weeks after hitting the $500 million mark. So we see the XRP adds $2 billion to its market cap after Wall Street interest in Ripple. And these figures clearly indicate that the boom in tokenized equities is not just a passing fad, but a hot trend that traditional large exchange operators are also starting to embrace. And then, so that's it. The BitGet's stock features one, and then there's the XRP adding $2 billion to its market cap after the Wall Street interest. Ripple, a bit of mix-up there. Apologies for that from our producer. But that's it for the stories making crypto space at this time, and also for Business Incorporated. Thank you so much for being a part of Business Incorporated again today. It will be a final one tomorrow, which is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah, I always can't wait to say that. But I'll see you tonight when I'll give you the stock market report and see how the market, perhaps there'll be a little bit of recovery on local markets. We'll see. I'm John Mekwa. I'll talk to you later.